I'm Isabel from the Cognito Forms team, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to track your form submissions by person so that you can quickly view someone's history across your organization. But before we get into the setup, let's take a quick look at how this feature works. Every time someone submits a form, Cognito Forms matches that submission to a person using their email address. If they've submitted a form before, their new submission is added to their existing record. And if they're new, Cognito Forms automatically creates a record for them. This gives you a history of each person, making it much easier to understand their past interactions without maintaining a separate CRM or searching through multiple forms. There are two ways to identify the person submitting your form. You can use a name and an email field to identify the submitter, or you can use a person field to identify the submitter. The option you choose depends on whether you already know who you're tracking. For example, if you already have a list of people, such as your students, your employees, or members of your organization, and you only want to track submissions for those existing people, you can use a person field. When you use a person field on your form, your user can either select themselves, or that person field can automatically select the current user if they're signed in. Alternatively, if you don't already have a list of people, or you just like people to be able to add themselves to your existing list, use a name and email field to identify your submitter. As each person submits the form, Cognito Forms will automatically create a new person record or match them to an existing one, which allows you to track submissions without knowing their details ahead of time. I'll show you both methods to identify your submitter, starting with using a name and an email field. And then at the end, I'll show you how to view your submission history. If you're using a name and an email field to identify your submitter, you'll need both of those fields on your form. Once you add those two fields, Cognito Forms automatically enables track submissions by person, allowing you to choose where you'd like to store your submission history. Here you can see all of the person forms that already exist in my organization, so you can select one of your existing forms or create a new one. When you create a new person form, you'll give it a name and then choose the type of person who'll be submitting your form. Contacts are people who do not sign into Cognito Forms. Guests are people outside of your organization who do sign in to view and manage their submissions. And users are members of your organization who sign into Cognito Forms. If you already had a name and an email field on your form, you can enable submission tracking by opening the form settings and then toggling on the option there. Just note that this section will only show up if you already have a name and an email field or a person field on your form. After you enable tracking submissions, you'll also notice that the title of your person form is shown at the top right corner of the form builder. Once you save your form, all new submissions will be tracked. Now let's look at the second method, using a person field to identify your submitter. If you're using a person field to identify your submitter, you'll need to have a person field on your form. That person field should be connected to the list of people you want to track. In this case, I set the person field to default to the current user and then set the field to read only so that the customer can only see their own name and nobody else's name. To enable submission tracking, go to your form settings, expand the section under track submissions by person, and there you can toggle the feature on. This section will only show up if you already have a person field or a name and an email field on your form. If you have one person field on your form, this section chooses the appropriate options automatically, but if you have multiple person fields on your form, you should confirm the selection is correct here. Once you save your form, submissions will automatically link to the selected person. Remember, you'll need to follow this method for every form you'd like to track. Now let's look at how to view a person's history. There are two ways to access it. First, you can go to your person form and click on any person's entry. History is organized into two categories: submissions and orders. Submissions include all forms, orders collected payment. Within the Submissions tab, you can use the filters at the top to narrow the results by form, status, or submitted date. Within your Orders tab, you can filter by date, status, form, total, and amount due. You can preview the submission by clicking on it, and you can also click the chevron at the top to access the full entry on that form's entries page. If you're not sure which person form is connected to a tracked form, you can always open the build page for that form, and in the upper right corner, you'll see the title of the person form that's being used to track submissions. You can also access a person's history from an entry on a tracked form. So you can open any entry and then click on the person's name in the upper right corner to open their profile. Here you can access both submissions and orders. That's all I'm going to cover in this video, but if you'd like a written version of this tutorial, I've linked one in the description below. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to our team directly by submitting a support request.